Hello, hello. How y'all doing? I'm excited to be here. I'm gonna be fully transparent. I'm winging it today. I had an idea in mind of what I thought I would talk about, and when I tell you the way that this week has weeked, um, I didn't get a chance to sit down and make a plan. I usually have a very thoughtful, cohesive show planned for you all, and that's not the case today. But, or I should say, and um, when I say I thoroughly enjoy doing these live streams, I thoroughly enjoy it. It is one of the highlights of my week, and I wanted to hold the commitment to myself. And so, let me just talk a little bit about, catch you up with what I've been up to, what's been going on. And I think that this is like a really uh coalescing moment, like synchronous moment, serendipitous. That's the word. Um, I have been thinking a lot about my business, my entrepreneurial journey, um, and as it relates, it connects to really honoring myself, right? My talents, my skills. Let me tell you something. If anyone had told me that being an entrepreneur is one of the deepest dives you could do into your own sense of self-esteem, self-worth, your relationship to abundance and wealth and money, I would have been like, oh, okay. But it's absolutely been that for me. And one of the things that I have been trying to actively work on is my confidence in my ability to really make a living doing the things that I most want to do and that I'm passionate about, and not what is safe and expected. And this YouTube channel, the way that I am here one day a week, showing up regularly, the thinking about the things that I want to talk about, the planning the episodes, and all of those things is really a demonstration of my faith in myself. And every time it's also an affirmation that this is the type of work that I really am invested in and that lights me up, that brings me joy and pleasure, that I feel really most aligned to do. And so, even though I did not have a scripted show planned for tonight, I really wanted to show up. I wanted to show up for myself. And I really wanted to show up for anyone else who might be watching live tonight. The reality is, if I looked at the metrics, if I looked at the metrics for my subscribers, for the engagement I get on my content, for how many people show up live for the live streams, and really across most of my social media platforms, if I'm being honest, um, if I looked at the metrics, I would be very much defeated. The growth has been super slow with this channel. I can't quite break 220. I really want to hit 500 by the end of this year. That is my goal. I really would like for this platform to grow and be a part of the broader conversation. I think what I have to offer and the things that I talk about are important and meaningful and impactful. And I want as many people to be in the conversation as possible. And so I'm focused on the metrics for that reason. But of all the places that I show up on social media or out in the world in this role as Dr. Nikki, licensed psychologist, pleasure coach, this space feels most like it's mine versus the other social media platforms where it feels like trying to be heard among a cacophony of other like screams and voices and loud music and all the things, right? This feels like it's mine. And I love the way that this place feels. I love the way that I show up and the things that I talk about. And so I'm here today to honor that because I'm honoring me. And That feels really, really good. That feels really good to say. Um, and I am proud of myself for continuing to show up. If you don't know these things about me, if you're brand new to me, if you kind of seen a couple of my episodes but don't really follow me, I thought this would be a good time to tell you more about me. And so, a couple of really important things. One, I am in my fifth year of entrepreneurship, um, and I was sort of like forced out into full time entrepreneurship. And I can get into that story in a second. I'm in my fifth year of entrepreneurship, and I have, before doing this, I never thought about being an entrepreneur. In fact, I would tell people all the time, because I went to graduate school with this one woman. She's a life psychologist now, Dr. Jamaica Cooper. I have to think about her new last name. She's remarried. And so Dr. Jamaica Cooper, she's another Black licensed psychologist superstar, but she always had like a hustle in graduate school. She was always like trying to come up with a business idea, or with her husband at the time, or trying to get me involved with selling something. Sometimes it felt like a pyramid. Always like, and I was like, girl, I hate selling. Like, I am not an entrepreneur. I do not have that in me. Like, no, 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 no. Like, so resistant to entrepreneurship. And I think about that so much because I never envisioned this life for myself. And in the 5 years that I have been full time entrepreneurship, it has been some of the most amazing time in my life, and some of the biggest struggles, because I am a service based business, right? It's not like I own like a t-shirt business or a drop ship business. Is that still a thing? Do people still make money with that? Um, or something that is disconnected from me. The work that I do is very, very connected to me. I am bringing myself to it. It's all my own intellectual property. It's my standard um of excellence that I set. The offers that I offer are ones that I create and develop, right? It's me, 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 me. At various times, I've had assistants part time. At various times, I've had some social media support. The vast majority of it all is your girl. And it has challenged me to really look at my sense of worth. And it is a different exercise, it is a different mental exercise to know your worth, but then to have to attach that to a dollar value and then have the confidence to ask for it. It's also a different experience to know a wide range of information, have a lot of expertise and experiences, but then think about ways to package that in a way that is going to bring benefit, positive impact, but also um, is a value add to people's lives, and that is something that people want to buy. And so there's a lot of moving parts in entrepreneurship. And in a lot of ways, I think that my lack of confidence and my lack of clarity over time has been a factor in why my business hasn't really thrived in the way that I thought it would, wanted to, had expectations for thus far. So I've been actively working on that. One thing to know about me is I don't give up too easy. Um, Especially if it's something that I like. If somebody says you can't do it, or it's hard, or most people don't succeed, like, say less. Hold my beer. Like, it's going to be a thing that I'm going to want to do until I feel like I can tackle something, until I accomplish something, achieve something based on my own standards. I won't let it go. Now, I might get bored with it, forget I was doing it. That's the ADHD. But if it's something that I'm really passionate about, like really fully invested in, I'm going to keep at that thing. And that's what I've been doing with this business. And it's interesting to me how much I have grown as an individual. The more that I do this, the more that I talk about the work, There was also a period of time where I was feeling a lot of respectability politics to come and be out in the public and social media and talk openly about sex and eroticism and Black women. I've had to also reconcile a lot of my own internalized fat phobia, a lot of my internalized patriarchy. And by that, I mean like me seeing myself through the gaze of other people and thinking that the body that I was in would not be perceived as being sexy. So why should I be talking about this erotic stuff and sexy stuff? In thinking about me being older, like I was dyeing my hair before, and I remember making the decision like in 2020 to stop dyeing my hair, and I was like, but I'm gonna have gray hair, and are people gonna be like, she's too old to be talking about sex? And like I've had to work through a lot of internalized shit to get to this place where not only do I feel confident and clear about being in this space and taking up space and talking openly about pleasure and eroticism and sexual wellness and getting into educating my audience in detail about those things. I mean, last week I was talking about everybody got a booty hole compared to where I was, like, has been the result of my own personal investment, my own determination, my own self care, my own self compassion. And it's all of those things that I actually do draw on when I am working with my clients one on one, when I'm developing digital assets, when I'm developing workshops to share, when I develop the pleasure pursuit. Like it comes out of not just the things that I'm hearing from my clients, but through my own really hard earned lived experience. And it gives me such a deep level of empathy and understanding and insight. Like I am behind the curtain of all the things. And I really believe that's one of my superpowers in being able to genuinely connect with the clients that I'm best served to work with. Because I know how, especially as Black women, the way we show up in the world, maybe anybody looking at us from the outside in would think that our confidence is 10 out of 10. It's on a million. You can't tell us nothing. What? I'm gorgeous. I'm fine. Why would you not? Like that is how we are just out in the world. We're not given really a choice. We're not given opportunity. Even if we don't show up that way, we're not really given an opportunity to be perceived that way because it gets misconstrued at us being angry or standoffish or like we're not allowed to be out in the world as Black women in a vulnerable state, in an insecure state. It's just not, that ain't how this current reality is set up. But since I've been living in this body and this world as a Black girl, Black woman, these whole 51 years, and have had the immense blessing and pleasure to have lots of close, deep relationships with other Black women, I know that a lot of us struggle with confidence. A lot of us struggle with self esteem. A lot of us struggle with self worth. And that doesn't mean that it's global. Like it doesn't mean that we have self loathing or we think we're not shit or we like don't love ourselves. It means that there are still pockets of our identity and aspects in our lives that need way more care and healing and showing up and support than maybe the world allows us to show and demonstrate. And so the more that I do this work for myself, the more that I am an entrepreneur in this space, I have such deeper awareness of that. I have such deeper self compassion. I have so much deeper love for Black women writ large. Like I've said this before and I will say it again. I really believe that Black women are the highest expression of humanity on the planet. I think that we could solve all the world's problems in a matter of days if the world would just get out of our way and let all of our brilliance and magic show up. And even in all of that, that doesn't, because I believe we are the highest expression of humanity, that also means that we hurt, that we suffer, that we're insecure, that we have anxieties, that we are sad, that we have depression, that we're lonely, that we're confused, that we don't have all the answers, that we need love, we need tenderness, we want and desire connection. Like it's all of those things in relationship to our immense magic, ingenuity, creativity, care, capacity, all of those things. And it is almost every day that I see something in my own life or through my daughter's experiences or in my relationships with my other women friends, my best friend, that I that way of thinking and seeing the world is highlighted for me. I just get affirmation after affirmation that, in fact, we do need a planner and journal to help us learn how to own and center our pleasure. That we have been stripped away from our sense of playfulness and lightheartedness and ability to do things that bring us joy just for the sake of doing that, because we've had to be responsible for our own care and other people's care for far too long, right? That we do struggle to have the optimal erotic and sexual lives that we want to have because of patriarchy, and that we don't always advocate for ourselves in our most intimate, vulnerable sexual relationships, especially with men. And there's a lot of history and context related to that, right? These are things that I know, and I know them because I've been working through them myself my whole life in different ways. I am grateful that I do tend to be about 3.5 steps ahead of my clients. Um, and that allows me to have enough of the uh, knowledge and wisdom to be able to be in support of them. It does help that I am a highly trained psychologist, right? That training is really, really important. I know how to hold space for myself and my biases, my expectations, my thoughts, my beliefs and perspectives, and my clients, and see them and be able to look at them and see where there is alignment and misalignment and be responsible for that. Like, I'm trained to do those things. So I know how to do all of that, but I rely a lot on my intuitive sense of what is most needed in the moment. I am uh, tuned in to and attuned to my clients, whether that is one on one work or couples work or workshops. I am connected to the energy in the space, and I have a keen ability to be able to tap into that and meet the clients where they are. But I'm able to do that because I have done a lot of the work on my own. And I can remember what it's like to sit in that space of trying to find the balance between self critique and shame and self compassion, trying to find the balance of having these internal expectations for how you are allowed to show up as a sexual being, but having a very rich and curious and voracious internal erotic life, right? Like learning how to balance all of these high ideals and expectations for success and achievement for yourself with wanting to be seen as soft and tender and vulnerable and wanting to be taken care of and nurtured, wanting to be the best example you can for your children, and be a good role model, but also having moments where you know you are absolutely not your best and you just want to cuss a motherfucker out. And sometimes they are, right. I sit in the tension of all of those things, and that is the work that I try to bring to this space, the lessons learned, the way of seeing things, the way of experiencing life. Um, and certainly with my clients, and I'm also a work in progress as well. um and so one of the things that I have had to come to terms with is that, um as I do this, as I continue to invest in this entrepreneurial journey, because there's no going back for me. I said I was going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then I got distracted. So I started off my career in academia. I was a professor, and I went into that really ego driven and from a people pleasing state, quite honestly. Like, I said, one, Black women are like less than 2% of the entire academy, and only certain percentage of them even get tenured. And so I want to be one of those people to do it. And that was very ego driven, right? I want to accomplish this thing because the world says that I can't. And then I had a lot of professors in graduate school that saw something in me, and I was really appeased by their admiration of me, and I wanted to keep that esteem. And they kept saying that I should apply, I should be in academia. We need a voice like voices like yours in academia. And I did it, and I struggled, and I was miserable for more than half of it. And when I hit burnout, um, after 17 years of doing it, I went to work at a cancer research hospital in the DEI space, and then got basically given an ultimatum that either I was going to capitulate to white supremacy by dumbing down the content around systemic racism. Like, they actually wanted me to not name like white supremacy. They wanted me to like not acknowledge that systemic racism advantages people identified and defined as white as compared to people of color. That they didn't want me to talk about anti-blackness. And I was like, do you see me? You hired me, right? Like, and they said if I didn't do it, I was going to be written up for insubordination, that I could possibly be fired. You know, Texas is where I live. It's an at-will state. And I had to make a real hard choice of, that's not true. It wasn't a hard choice. I knew immediately that I was not going to capitulate. I'm black. I'm blackity black black. I understand systemic oppression. I taught classes. I have written papers. It is like a part of my own politic, and has been for as long as I can live. I'm a black woman from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. My mother was born in 1945, pre desegregation. She graduated high school before the Voting Rights Act. Okay. I know exactly who I am and what this thing is. So there's no way that I was going to fall back on that. I can't stand a coon, and I don't even want to do anything that might look coon adjacent. So that part wasn't hard. It was very clear for me where the line in the sand for me was. But I had never worked for myself. And I had never had to fully bet on myself. I struggled in academia because I didn't know then, but I know now that I had undiagnosed ADHD, untreated, unmedicated ADHD. And so the struggle for me, it wasn't in academia, wasn't the ability. It was that my way of needing to do it in that environment was not something that I even knew how to access, right? And it also wasn't the fit for me. So, and then the job at the cancer hospital wasn't that hard. It was super easy. It was a good check. So the hard part of the decision was stepping fully into the fear of working for myself, of not knowing where that next check was going to be, not knowing I was going to be able to cover this mortgage. I have a whole child. She's just 13. So making that decision 5 years ago, like, was terrifying to me. I do not come from generational wealth. Okay. My mother was a retired school teacher. My dad was a drug addicted, retired mailman with zero money, didn't leave me nothing, never paid child support. Solo dolo, right? And so the fear, when I tell y'all, it was so immense, because I think I understood in a profound way that I wasn't even fully able to articulate. Like, baby, if you step out on yourself, you betting on yourself. It's nobody or nothing to hide behind. No excuses. But I had no clue how much I needed to shift my mindset to even be able to do what I'm doing today. And some days I still be like, I really don't know how we're making it month to month. I don't know how we're doing this, and how we're able to take vacations, and the mortgage has been paid, and like all the things. But I'm out here doing it on my own, and I'm doing work that I absolutely love with people that I actually love and that light me up. Our private practice is and always has been exclusively high achieving Black women, femmes, and couples. I work with some queer ass people. I love them. I work with couples and individuals, but I work with folks, and in session, my clients get to say things to me like, girl. They get to, there's no code switching. We're just talking conversely with one another. We get to use words that only belong to us intraculturally without apology, that I get to talk to them in ways that feel fully aligned with how I am, and that I know that I'm contributing to their healing and well-being. That, there's no parts of it, no matter how many times the money part has been stressful, there's no part of me that ever wants to go back in an institution to work for someone else, especially in these anti-DEI streets. So I'm here. But it's so fascinating to me how much all of the shit that's in your head that you don't even really know is in your head about needing permission for certain things, about worrying about how other people are going to perceive you, about what, about really showing up as all parts of yourself, and will you offend some people or not, about all the actual limitations that we put on ourselves. There's so much shit, y'all, in our heads that we don't even know until we have to confront it. And how much that we sort of play around and negotiate like these little tiny millimeters of like, well, I could do this, but I don't want to do that. Well, maybe I could do like how much we do that to not have to stand in the fullness of our own power and hold ourselves accountable. And I'm telling you, because that's where I've been. So I've had this business and I've focused mostly on private practice. And then I wanted to expand to coaching. And then I wanted to start to incorporate workshops. And I still am doing those things, um, but you know, that's hard earned money. Okay. Every dollar comes on somebody coming in here. And so I was like, well, I could do executive coaching. I even have a website domain that I bought years ago that's blackexecutivecoaching.com. I bought that. I was like, I can do executive coaching and I can do stuff in the corporate space and I could do workshops and things like that. But it kept feeling like it was a tangent and a diversion. And I'm talking to y'all like this is some past. No, these are revelations that I've just had like literally in this week. Um, but I wasn't really executing on it. Like I kept saying I was going to do it, but I wasn't really executing on it. And so I recently had a human design shadow reading. Shout out to Dr. Rashika Fogg. She did it for me. I'm also really like woo woo, as they say. You know, I'm all about the tarot and um, um, uh, like astrology. And then I found about human designs, and I definitely like bring in like uh, ancestor reverence and other parts of African spirituality. Like all of that stuff really blends really well. It's that Cancer Sun Pisces rising of me, right? Um, and so in the human design reading that I got, she was basically like, quit doing too much. You keep trying to find something different. You keep like trying to go somewhere, do something else, come with something. She was like, do you know how much content you have? She was like, you have so much content. You have so much knowledge. She actually was a participant in a workshop that I did a couple of years ago for practitioners in the sexual health space, sexology clinician space around releasing shame as liberatory practice. And she was like, I still think about that workshop. Like that was 3 years ago. She was like, you got stuff. So stop trying to act like you don't. Stop hiding. And I was like, whoa, okay. And then I was minding my good black business um, a couple days this earlier in the week. And I kind of said to another friend, like, I keep trying to make this corporate piece fit, but I really don't want to give the best of myself and my talent away to help Black women be better corporate pawns. Like I don't really want to help them be healthier in a sick environment. I don't want to give the best of me for that. And she immediately was like, oh, of course not. She was like, and that's why your business ain't doing what it's supposed to do. She was like, you're supposed to be talking about this pleasure stuff. You just need to be in alignment. And I was like, well, rude. Like, did you have to say it so loud? Like, how dare you? And so I'm in this process of this is me outing myself to you all. Like I'm in this process of really sitting in the fullness of what it would be mean, what it would mean for me to like fully bet on myself. Right. And I think that's the question I want to leave you all with today. It's like, how many times throughout the week or at this moment in your life do you feel like you sell yourself short? Even if it's just like you're not shrinking in response to anything that's happening in the moment. There's no one right there in your face that you're people pleasing for. but you are just selling yourself a little bit short. If that resonates at all, just drop a little, that little emoji. Can you find that? Drop that in the chat and let me know if this is making sense to you. Like, how often do you sell yourself just a little bit short? Um, and what do you need to stop doing that? Right. And for me, I need to be honest with myself, and I needed people around me to help me feel safe in being able to be honest about myself. And so my framework that I've been working on, all I want to put all the pieces together for you, because here's the gold and the magic that I've been sitting on. But because I've been playing these games with like, oh, I'm gonna do this, or maybe I'll do that, or this feels safe, but I don't know. Like, I haven't fully fleshed it out or leaned into it. What I realize across my work is that there are four things that I talk about consistently, um, constantly, and centrally to my work with my clients. And they are authenticity, self compassion, intimacy, and pleasure. Of course, pleasure, right? And I think this piece that I've this whole long story that I've taken you on tonight, right, is a demonstration of how all four of those pieces fit together. And I think those really are the four fundamental things that we as Black women, I don't know about them other folks, but we as Black women really need to be digging into when we talk about our healing journey, when we talk about mental wellness, when we talk about living lives on our own terms that are fully empowered, that are fully aligned. For me, it is those four things. I'm going to see. I think I can put them on the stage too. And so they are authenticity, self compassion, intimacy, and pleasure. Um, and then I'm going to hide this one and show this one. Look at there. I did it. We'll take the ticker off. I think you could do that. Hold on one second. No. Shabam. Authenticity, self-compassion, intimacy, and pleasure, right? The authenticity piece is related to that thing of like, I haven't been showing up. I've been trying to hide. Because let me tell you, life in America is hard. And also like I've had a lot of shit thrown at me in the last several years on a personal level, along with all of the things happening on a global social political level, right? And really, really important people in my life that I love and care about, friends, family, which are my friends that are like family, are better than family sometimes. Like they've gone through their things too, and that impacts me, right? That because I care and love them and don't want them to suffer or be struggling, and I want to do my part to hold them up. And so, um, the self compassion piece is recognizing that, yeah, I have been selling myself short. Yeah, I've been hiding behind things, and I am human, and there's only so much capacity that I have at any given time, that any of us have at any given time. And in fact, everyone around you, including yourself, is really best served when you're able to just be honest about what your limitations are. Just straight up, like, I ain't got it, homie. Like, I really want to show up for you, but I ain't got it. I don't have no good words to say. I'm not my best. Like, just sitting in our humanity. Okay. And then, and that self compassion piece, that was huge for me in my healing journey to like unlock that piece because I didn't realize how hard I was on myself just for being hard on myself, like just because it had become habitual, because I had trained myself to think that that was the thing that was actually keeping me safe, and it really, really wasn't. And so I talk a lot about self-compassion in my work with my clients because as Black women, we end up being harder on ourselves than the world actually is sometimes because the world has been so hard on us. We decided, let me take care of it myself. So I don't give you the opportunity to hurt me, take me down, dismiss me, right? So we take over the job ourselves. And self-compassion is so critical to us recentering our humanity and getting up off our own necks. Okay. Um, and then the intimacy piece is, I think, like, I really do believe the way that this nightmare simulation that we are living in, this white man's toxic psychopathic imagination that we're living in is so twisted. I really do believe that we're supposed to be here in service to one another, in loving and joyful relationship to one another. That does not mean that we won't have conflict, disagreement, because I take you back to point A. When you are living authentically, when you're showing up as your authentic self, you're going to have difference of opinions and perspectives than other people around you. Like, we're not going to be all in harmony and agreement, but we can live in a collective, harmonious, balanced, safe, equitable space. And I believe intimacy is the best way to make that happen, right? It's that vulnerability, it's that honesty, it's that allowing the other person to be connected. It's our ability to be tender with ourselves and with someone else, to experience that shared sort of state of consciousness in which you are just in attunement with someone else that loves you and is in love with you, and you love, and they feel that and you feel that, and it's this really beautiful, energetic feedback loop, right? That's what the intimacy is. It's recognizing that even when you're at your ugliest, I still love you. I'm gonna hold you accountable. I'm gonna tell you you stank. I'm gonna tell you that wasn't right. I'm gonna ask for the apology, but I'm still gonna be in loving relationship with you, right? And I expect you to do the same thing for me. That is hard work. I think we are in an intimacy deficit. I think that when we talk about, it's a loneliness epidemic and people are like feeling really touch starved, all that stuff. I think because we are in an intimacy deficit, I think people don't know how to actually be in relationship with one another because there's so much hurt and suffering, and people are trying to protect themselves from not having any more. But what we're doing is preventing ourselves from having the best possible connections and relationships we could have, which will allow us to live in and with our suffering with much more ease. And then pleasure, because if it's not giving the pleasure, what's the motherfucking point? Like, literally, like, riddle me that. Like, what kind of world do we envision for ourselves that doesn't center pleasure? Like, you want to feel neutral? Like, having I love that we see so much on social media and people are talking about like regulating your nervous system and like having a grounded nervous system. I love that. Yes, we should all feel safe in our bodies, but that is not the end state. It's not threat or grounding. It's actually pleasure. It's actually heightened, peak, generative, open, creative, light, right? Our nervous system has the ability to experience threat and arousal, nervousness and excitement. Okay. Um, um, Fear and exhilaration. That's the other end of the continuum. So I'm not interested in settling for just being neutral. I want pleasure in this thing. I want to laugh more days than I don't. I want to feel lit up. I want to have the sense of empowerment to be able to choose the things that I want to do in my life and for my life more than I feel like I don't. That's what the pleasure piece is for me. So I have been listening to my clients. I've been doing my own work. I've been hearing the things that and like the things that are coming up in conversation with my dearest friends and loved ones. And these four pieces show up almost every day in some way, shape, or form. And I am committing myself to making my life's work about these four things. And I am interested and excited to sort of see where it takes me, to see what evolves from this. Each of these four things is like a depth, like there's layers and nuance in each of them. And so I think this is a lifetime's worth of work. I don't plan on working for my lifetime. Part of my pleasure, um, as I am being authentic with you, is I'm not trying to be working for real after like 65. And that is still like old, like to be clear. I feel like 65 is like a young old, like nobody is pretending that you're not at closer to the end of your life at 65. Even if you check out at 95, you still got more years in the tank than you got left, right? So um but I'm trying to like be slow and easy with it. And so me finding that alignment, I believe is really critical to that. So for the rest of the year, the expected, well, for the rest of the life of this YouTube channel until I discover something new. Um, and that is the other exciting part, right? The more that I lean into learning and being open and growing, I just find that there's more to learn and to be curious about and more depth of things. So this is what I'm talking about now, but as the conversation evolves, I might tweak some of them. Um, but for sure, for now, this is where I'm staying focused. Um, I have my therapy practice for sure. I am pleased to say that I'm almost back to full. I have room for three more individual clients. I'm full with couples for now. I actually started my wait list for couples just this week. I'm grateful to be in that space. I booked a new therapy client today. So I have room for three more individual clients. And I have my Voxer voice only group coaching. So it's for high achieving Black women. So there is a application process, so I can make sure I'm vetting to make sure that it does stay a brave space. And so there's a free broadcast channel, but there's also a small monthly membership of $15 where we talk about all of these things. We talk about the things that help us with our authenticity, self compassion, joy, pleasure in that space. And then there's also a premium tier where you can get direct voice coaching from me for $55 for a month. Um, and then I am launching a face to face in person workshop here in Houston in October. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in the realm of pleasure. I'm pretty sure. I'm refining and thinking through, and so I'm excited about the things that are upcoming. I'm excited to see where this business continues to go. I'm continuing to do my own work in my own therapy and my own self discovery, and just living my life and being open to life uh, guiding me and teaching me. And so I will always continue to be able to share those things with you. So we're coming down to this is the end of the month of August. In August, we talked a lot about sort of taboo sexual practices, right? And like one, honoring when you feel disconnected from your pleasure and sort of some of the reasons why that might be. We talked about perimenopause, menopause, mental health, grief, um, other changes that are happening in your body when you're not having good sex, how you don't want to have more sex. Right? We talked about a lot of things related to pleasure and sort of having the more um, difficult conversations, right? The things that we don't really like to talk a lot about. We also talked about the secular female response, sexual response cycle, right? And I did a lot of education around like your desire and desire discrepancy, right? Around spontaneous desire versus responsive desire, and how to sort of work through that and around that. I'm going to go into some more details around that again in the future. I talked a lot about like things that turn you on and things that turn you off. Um, um, what is that woman's name? Emily Nagoski. This chick. Um, she wrote this book and the workbook, and she had a new book come out too. But she talks about them as inhibitors, so things that actually um, turn down your the sense of desire, and accelerators, things that amplify. So I want to do an episode where I get more into those details. And then this last half of the month, we talked about anal sex because it was anal August, right? And that is taboo. And so the last couple episodes were about that. So it's been a good little run of things. And so as we move into September next month, September is World Sexual Health Awareness Month. And so I want to talk about sexual health, but I like to talk about sexual wellness over sexual health. And so I'm going to talk to you about what I believe are all the pieces that incorporate sexual wellness. I'm going to talk about um, uh, sexual health from a physiological standpoint, because baby, the things that I be seeing on the internet about women's vaginas and how they smell, and what to do, and glitter, and like making your coochie taste like pineapples, all of that stuff. I want to get into what are the actual sexual health implications of those things. What is really good practice, hygiene practice around that. I want to get into I also like to talk about consent and self advocacy in your relationships during Sexual Health Awareness Month. So I'm excited about yes, glitter. Okay, there were these little suppositories that you could put up in your vagina, and then with apparently when you orgasm, like your release would be glittery. First of all, the itchiness that the irritation that just no, just no. So those are the things that I'm thinking about. Glitter don't go there. Okay, it don't go there. So that'll be Sexual Health Awareness Month. And I want, and then October is one of my favorite months. It's Kinktober. I'm thinking about having my first guest episode in October, to have someone that is a practitioner of kink or BDSM, someone really in the lifestyle, come and talk. But in September, we're going to talk about BDSM and kink, what it is, what it's not, fetishes, swinging, the lifestyle, like all the things, all the alternative sexualities. I want to get into that in October because I think that is some of the most fun, right? Because somebody always, um, traditional regular sex is referred to as like vanilla, right? It's just like you do it and it's not, it's good, it's pleasurable, it's a good time, everybody's on board. But it's nothing kinky, it's nothing, out of the ordinary. I once had somebody say nobody's vanilla. Everybody is at least a little French vanilla. Like everybody got a little something that they do. So I enjoyed talking about that. That'll be October. And so we got good stuff planned. And I will be sharing more details about the workshop as it evolves, as it's coming forward, other offerings that I might have as they develop. But I will be here unless there's something that comes up. Sometimes there's like personal things happening with holidays or birthdays or things that I'm celebrating with important people in my life that may prevent me from showing up. But expect me to be here every Thursday, 7 p.m. CDT, running my mouth, talking about all good things related to pleasure, wellness, Black women, liberation, authenticity, self compassion, intimacy, and joy. All right. Thank you all for being with me today and letting me wing it. Um, I love it. I hope you learned something even from my unplanned uh, uh, show today. And I will see you all next Thursday for the start of Sexual Health Awareness Month. Okay. As always, y'all, please, please be a friend and tell a friend, be a subscriber and bring a friend to subscribe. Let me get over this 220 hump. I'm like at 219 last time I checked. Come on now, that's just random. Who needs 219 subscribers? Let's go ahead and put your girl over like 225, right? Let's set a bar. Um, and watch these episodes, run them back, okay? Let them play on that TV because the way I get monetized is by having watch hours. And so I need people tuning in and this is quality shit that I'm sharing here. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't be a gatekeeper, as they say. All right. I will see you here next week. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your week. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Stay safe out there in these Labor Day streets. Stay safe out there in these illegally occupied streets. If you are in the DC area, it's crazy out there. So watch your back. And as always, pursue pleasure unapologetically.